Welcome to Modern Management of the Older Adult, brought to you by the Institute of Clinical Excellence.
Brought to you by the Institute of Clinical Excellence. My name is Samantha Chamberlain. I am here today to bring you a topic of You're Not the Norm, and just a huge thank you to you guys today. We are closing out a lot of our courses for the rest of this year, but please hop onto the ptonice.com website, and there is a ton of courses coming to you in 2023 all across the spectrum and all across the country. So please join us, and we'd love to see you in our live or online courses. So you are not the norm. If you've been tuned into the MMOA podcast for more than a few weeks, if you follow us on social media, if you're plugged into the ICE community in any way, shape, or form, then and you're full steam ahead with shifting our medical system from the current sick care that it is to health care that we need it to be, it can start to make you feel like it's the norm. And that everyone knows the power of fitness and nutrition and sleep, and we all know these things, and we see it constantly on, at least on my social media. I definitely have, I follow those things that help me treat my patients better. So it gets easy to be in kind of an echo chamber of sorts, and you start to just lose sight of the fact that the clinicians around you and the patients that walk in don't necessarily know that fitness can help them as much as what it can. And so we start to lose sight of that a little bit. So we still get people that are walking in with a very poor HEP that they have had either with home health or at previous locations or previous outpatient clinics. So first of all, I just want to say thank you. Each and every one of you matter so much, and you are sprinkling our message across the nation. One patient, one caregiver, one coworker at a time. And it's not easy work, but man, it means a whole lot. So if you've taken our courses or if you're following us on social media, I just want to say a huge thank you for what you're doing for our profession and what you're doing for the people within your community, because it's not something to be taken lightly. And I know it's our daily grind, so it gets easy to lose sight of, but you are making such an impact just with those little tidbits of information that you're providing for people. So don't lose sight of that. And you're not only changing their lives, but you're also changing your own. That positive age bias can make such a huge impact on how your outcomes are into the future. But, if you're able to influence those people around you and start sprinkling that in, that is huge. Because even in someone's in their plane of care with you, you're hearing the nocebos that they've been told, and they sit with people. Just like nocebos sit with people long after they've left that 3-minute visit with their physician, the things that you are telling them, the sleep hygiene, the nutrition that's impacting their plan of care, just the fitness forward, that approach that you're giving them, and how sugar can impact their inflammation, which impacts their pain, all those little nuggets of information, it sits with them. When they have an increased pain, and they're able to think about, oh, I didn't sleep too well a few nights ago, or I did have that extra piece of cake at my kid's birthday, or whatever it may be. They're able to start to kind of rationalize and manage their pain and what's going on. So you are making a huge impact. Even if you don't see it within their plan of care, it sticks with them beyond your services. So don't discredit that. But what prompted today's chat about not being the norm is I had a patient that I'd already established care with, luckily. So I'd already established care with her. This happened last Thursday, and I about got on a rant then, but thought I'd make it a little bit more, concise and intentional. So I saw this patient. I'd seen her earlier in the spring. I saw her for hip pain, and then we also had some vertigo on board. I triggered emesis on her first visit, and she still decided to come to her follow-up. So bravo to her for still sticking with me, even though I made her sick on her first visit. But we took care of the vertigo. We were able to help her manage her hip pain, but it was still really bothering her. So she decided that her and her surgeon decided that she needed a hip replacement. No problem. So at that point, I provided patient education to her. She wanted to discontinue PT for the time being, but she knew what she could do at home. She knew how she could manage it at home until she had that hip replacement. And I told her what to expect at follow-up. The surgeon that she was seeing typically would schedule anywhere from 2 to 6 weeks of home health. I told her I would prefer to see her the same week. I would sometimes get some of their patients that were that same week after a total hip. It just really depends on how well she can navigate and if she can get out of her home. So I let her know this. I let her know that we do have some home health care providers that don't always provide the best PT, and to be aware of that. So I was able to have a pretty good conversation with her, a pretty candid conversation about what her post-op care should look like. So I got to see her this week. She had surgery in the middle of November. When I saw her last week, she was almost 3 weeks post-op. She said that her first visit with PT, and I brought paper for dramatic effect. This was the paper, for those of you listening to the podcast. It is handwritten, just a notebook piece of paper that she said she provided for her therapist to write on. He spent his time writing this, which, it's great that he was giving her a specific one. Like he, took the time to write out what it wanted to be. I was like, okay, this is going well. She hands it to me and I said, okay, how are these going? Or what, we talked about it a little bit. And she said, as soon as he handed it to me, she said, oh, I'm going to have to tell Sam about this. So she already knew that it wasn't going to work out. Like, she led into this knowing that ankle pumps and quad sets weren't going to get her where she needed to be. Now, a few days post-op, I have no problem with this HEP to get muscles activated, to get things moving, to get everything to where they are confident in that they can move, and that, I understand the importance of at least getting muscles activated initially post-op. I was fine with that. What I was not fine with was that this piece of paper, she said he was writing on it about the whole time that he was there. And I was like, well, how long did he stay with you? 30, 40 minutes? She said he may have been there for 10 minutes, maybe 15, for an evaluation after a total hip replacement. So, of course, I was lit up at this point. Not a good sentence to hear, that your therapist is seeing you for 10 minutes after you've just had surgery, writes down a piece of paper, didn't show her how to do any of them, didn't make sure she could activate these muscles, didn't make sure any of it made sense to her, just said, here you go, if you have any questions, call me. Nowhere on this piece of paper is there a phone number. Nowhere. So she's supposed to call this person if she has questions about how to do these, but has no contact information. So already I'm like, you've got to be kidding me. Luckily, like I said, I've seen this patient. She already knew what to do. She was already doing okay. Well, of course, her first home health PT follow-up consisted of a packet. So there's a 3-page packet in my hand. She was told to do the exercises circled. The only exercises circled here are on the first page. So first of all, you could have just gave her one piece of paper instead of overwhelming her with 3 pieces of paper after she just had surgery. The 3 exercises, there's 4. There's one on the back. There's long arc quads chilling on the back here. The 3 exercises are shoulder shrugs, shoulder flexion, and some 90-degree rows. While I am all for getting the upper extremity involved, I think it would be much more beneficial to this patient to have her standing and doing cabinet reaches, so she's getting some weight shift on her hips. Have her do anything that involves standing or some kind of weight shift through the hips, not sitting in a chair raising your arms up and down. Great, sure, do one of those, but all 3 of those for your HEP for someone who just had a total hip, I'm questioning if they gave her the wrong sheet of paper. Did you not pay attention to what patient you were seeing and you just handed her the wrong circled paper? I have a lot of questions here and no answers, because luckily she went for her post-op appointment, was like, listen, this is what my therapists so far have given me. It's not going to work. And they're like, do you want to go to therapy in J where I'm at? And she said, yes, those girls will take care of me. So she knew to advocate for herself. Otherwise, she would have been doing this for 6 weeks. This is what she was doing at home. This is not unusual. I've also had plenty of people come in where they have had therapy before, and it's kind of the same thing. They've had therapy before, it didn't help them, and they just don't think therapy's going to help. So I ask, what did you do before? They tell me, and I'm like, okay, well, we might start with a couple of those just to get movement started, but we're gonna move away from that pretty quickly because we need to get you stronger. We need to get you able to do these things that you're telling me you want to be able to do. Nowhere in here does it show me what her goal is. She just wants to be able to walk around her house easier without pain. She wants to be able to step up on her porch and take care of her animals without it hurting. None of those impacted that at all. So if you're here, if you're listening, again, I just want to say thank you so much for putting in the work, for putting in the effort. It makes your day go by so much easier and so much better, and you care so much more when you actually know what your patient cares about and know what they need. when they come to you and like, man, this is kind of like a workout. And you're like, yeah, it is. And they're like, I feel a lot better. She came into me today. We did not anything crazy. We started working on some step ups to try to get those glutes activated. We did some bent knee fallouts because she was having a lot of pain. Like, we did some of those basic things that we would maybe see as underdosed typically, but post-op it's not. Post-op it's what she needs to be able to feel like she has the confidence to do it. We worked on walking better. She felt better when she left. She had less pain when she left than when she came in, and all we did was movement. I didn't have to use modalities today. I could have, but I didn't need to, because by the end of our treatment, she felt better because I had her up and moving. Not just her arms, but her whole body. So this is just a call to action for you guys. I feel like we do a lot of those, but they're so important. Like, if you're new here, if this is unusual information for you, then please know that you can change the way you practice at any time, and you can change it for the better. You can be a powerful physical therapist. You can be a powerful occupational therapist. You can push our individuals to not be living a 1 rep max life. You can push them to be having the confidence to walk around their home without a walker again. You can help them feel strong and confident just by having them move their bodies and have them lift some weights, so that those day-to-day tasks start to feel a lot easier and a lot less strenuous to them, and then they're more likely to start doing more. My patient just wants to be able to watch TV and enjoy time with her grandkids. She doesn't have big goals. She likes to play she played basketball. She says she doesn't want to do that anymore. She does like to bowl. I think she would like to get back to that. So these are things that we can take steps to work on and get her back to doing those simple things that she wants to do without hurting all the time. So again, it doesn't have to be a huge, elaborate plan, but it does need to be focused on the patient in front of you and make sense for what they're seeing you for. Not just some packet that you give them arbitrarily and say, yeah, do these, you'll be fine. So thank you. If you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to us, and then we will see you soon.
Thank you for listening to the MMOA podcast. If you found this helpful, please share with someone that could benefit. And if you're looking for more practical content to help you better serve older adults, head over to www.mmoa.online, where you can learn more about our free resources, our community, continuing education courses, and our certification. Once again, that's www.mmoa.online. Thanks for listening.